welcome to the Garden of Storytelling, episode number 8. We will have B on our show today. Sully?
Yeah, man, I'm excited for this. I haven't called this fool for at least a week on purpose, just so that we can have a real conversation at the round table. So
Yeah.
let's get right into it, bro.
All
What you
right.
been
Round
up to,
table.
man?
Yeah.
Not much, just grinding. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Appreciate y'all.
Let's introduce B first in case
Oh,
some
thank you for
listeners do not know who B is. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Robert Moore. My friends call me B because I grew up being called BJ, which is short for Bobby Jr. And that name didn't work out so good in adulthood. Got like just an uncomfortable situation when you introduce yourself. Anyway, but born and raised in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm an artist. I paint pictures and shit.
That's awesome.
For
And so
living.
when did you switch over from Bobby Jr. to BJ? What age?
When I was fresh out my mama, my aunt came in the delivery room and was like, "Oh, Bobby Jr., we should call him BJ." And that kind of stuck. So like only like in my adolescence, like elementary school, middle school, and high school a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
people still kind of know me as that. So if you knew me like younger in life, that
Yes.
still is what I grew up being called, you know. But
Yeah.
Right.
corporate life was more Robert, you know, and then
Yes.
B is what all my boys started calling me when they didn't want to call me BJ.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that's where that kind of just started. So
I feel like B just becomes more of an artist name now.
Well,
It's
recently, I mean,
mysterious.
we've just been. That's. I mean, I still call you BJ every once in a while. But
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
boys. I mean,
yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
been since.
But see, I still call
long
you
time.
Sullivan and
Right.
sometimes Sully.
Exactly.
And-
Exactly.
Because that's the thing is with Sully, I know when how long ago people know him by if they call him Sullivan or Sully. Like I call him Sully
Right.
because I didn't really know you as Sullivan, but people before in your younger years.
Yeah,
The
like in
original,
elementary,
bro.
in middle school, that's what we called him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear Sully until later, so it was still
Yeah.
hard for me to even switch.
I think that all came about because of Monsters Inc. Like literally, when Monsters Inc. came, that's when people started saying Sully.
Oh yeah, because one of
Well,
the characters.
Yes.
I started calling you Sully because I knew someday I was going to have a Sullivan in our life. And so I needed to get used to calling you Sully.
Yeah. I mean, but that was after Monsters Inc. So,
Was it?
but before everybody called me Sullivan.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's like a
They
formal
do.
side to the
Yeah.
informal name, you know. So
Yeah.
like even with like your profession
Yes.
Right.
on your cards and stuff,
Yes.
you have
Right.
Sullivan. So like
Yeah.
when I'm writing checks or
Makes
I'm
sense.
getting checks, hopefully I'm getting more than I'm writing.
Robert.
They better fucking put Robert on that shit. Because I can't I mean I can because I have my business name now, but
Right.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Wait, so Bobby Jr., so then where did Robert come from?
Robert is a derivative
Robert,
of
yeah.
Bobby.
Oh.
It's kind of like William and Richard
Yes.
or Richard and Dick.
Yeah. True. Very
Richard
true.
and Dick? I don't get that.
Yeah, it comes from, I don't either. Nobody does, but
Nobody
it does. If you're named Dick, your name
It's
Richard.
Richard.
If you're named Richard, your name William. It's fucking weird. If you're named William, your name's Bill. It's like,
Yes.
it's weird.
So
That is.
crazy.
My brother-in-law's name is
William.
William,
But where
but
did
they
Bill
call him
come
Bill.
from?
Who knows?
who knows.
Some Caucasian thing.
It is what it is.
It's a Western civilization.
Yeah. What
They're
name
like,
do you
yo.
like? What name do you prefer? Like
B.
today?
B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my name.
Yeah.
I'm also B too.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Can't forget about
Yeah, that
about
is-
the other B.
That is true.
Yeah.
Jay-Z. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's up, though. So what? What?
Oh,
So
wait. Oh, B, the other Beyonce? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm very comparable to her. Yeah.
Yes, that part.
bro,
It was a bar, but
why you setting it up? For?
I didn't mean to.
Why you do that to me?
Hey, I can't help it. There's
And
this
you-
mic here, and I'm feeling like I'm a rapper, so I had to bust a bar.
You know she wasn't gonna get that.
No, I was late.
Oh.
Hella late.
Oh, my gosh.
So okay, that's what's up, bro. I mean, so what you been up to lately in regards to, we know that you just got back from LA for your first, is that correct? First solo?
Very first solo. So I did a small solo, like basically in this small shop that's a frame shop here in Des Moines in like 2018, maybe 2019 when I was first starting. So like the body of work looked completely different.
Right.
So like being a full-time artist and being committed to the practice, I had a show before, but this is a real true solo exhibit. This was a body of work. It was composed and curated and dissected, very similar to a hip hop album.
Yeah.
where I have an
Wow.
intro track and I have an outro track, and I have
Wow.
15 songs, multiple verses throughout my works. So like I really thought about it like that. So yeah, this is my first solo exhibit. It's out in LA. It kicked off March 4th and it closes March 25th. So
Where's it currently located at right now where people can see the general public?
it's kind of like, it's the West Hollywood area, Culver City specifically though, at a gallery called Think Space Projects.
Okay.
All that's online in my Instagram and stuff like that. You can find info for it. But yeah, it's open for this coming week. So
Very cool.
And go ahead.
I was gonna say, obviously, something so big like this. How many people do you have on the back end, behind the scenes, to create this exhibit?
So this is all me.
Oh,
You know, this is, I'm going to mention other people that are involved in it, but this is all me. And I'm saying that in a humble tone too, because I'm independent.
Yeah.
I built all this shit on my own.
yeah.
I figured out how to make it work. And then I've brought other people in to help stabilize it.
Okay.
I could still be doing this on my own, but I have people like Tony Minard, who's my assistant.
Okay.
So she helped me maximize my time
Yep.
and optimize how I was working and have some processes and body. She was a body that could replicate myself when I can't duplicate myself.
Yeah.
So she was extremely critical specifically for this show because of the man hours and the labor that she was able to help me be more efficient, because I was able to optimize and create more work based on her manpower and her time and what she was doing behind the scenes.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
But I also have a publicist team that I hire.
Okay.
They're really critical in making sure my work is amplified. So doing the work is important, making sure it gets up and out, but then making sure it's amplified, especially when I'm doing it independently. Because in my industry, like similar industries, even in real estate, for example, you work with an agency because they have marketing tools, they have PR, they have all these things that you don't have, so you can just do the work, right? And they get paid a percentage for that.
Yeah.
Galleries the same way in the art world.
Right.
They have marketing and PR, and they're helping on the sales process to make sure we can just focus on being producers.
Right.
So pulling that in independently and figuring out how to stabilize and set up my enterprise and pulling in the right people like Tony that I mentioned, and publicist, and Art House, which is my management team out of Chicago.
Okay.
So it's just this full team of people. And
Yeah.
I'm not even mentioning the gallery yet. And the gallery's helping actually like stand the show up,
Yep.
having the space, making sure there's a back end process for the sales and things like that. So it's a lot of people
Yeah.
involved in more than just painting the work. You
Right.
know, it's like thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, multiple people I can't even mention because I don't even know their names.
Sure.
I've only met them briefly, or the teams have teams.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
back
the
end.
publicist has a team.
Right.
My management has a team. I got a go-to person on those teams, but they got teams because they got to support themselves. So
Right.
it's an ecosystem in itself. It's pretty dope.
That is really cool to hear.
Yeah.
So how would you say, in regards to how you feel, what do you think the success of your first solo was? Did you have a lot of paintings that went? Do you have people? Did you expect the people to show up? Was it expected of you to see the amount of people that was there?
Man, I don't know what to expect because all this is new. This is my first solo show.
what's up, bro.
So like for me, it's kind of cool because I feel like a kid. I don't really have any expectations. I can be like real bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and just be like, oh, I'm just so proud
Yep.
and humble and grateful.
Yep.
And I don't know what's great. I don't know what's bad.
Yeah.
So success is a measurement that's constantly changing for me.
Yeah.
And I think I pushed myself really hard to set the bar high because I was naive also for what to expect,
Yeah.
also what was normal. But because I'm so fresh in this art scene, I've only been fucking around with it for like 4 years. And I've only been to a handful of galleries and museums and a handful of shows. I'm only basing that off of what I've seen. So it's similar to music. It's like if you grew up and you're like really big into Mozart, all you've heard is Mozart. When you go to compose music, you're going to either compose just like Mozart, or hopefully you're going to take all those little pieces and those nodes and those melodies and that music, and you're going to make it your own, and you're going to try to make it better.
Right.
And that's what that's what I feel like I was able to do, because the gallery, who's been around for a long time, said they've never seen a show like this. They've never had an artist this involved.
Yeah.
And I was on some Kanye shit, man. I was like, get the fuck out my way. I don't want anybody around. I don't want anybody talking.
Right.
I know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys can help, please. That's great. But like, I literally need everyone to just believe in the vision.
Bro.
Yeah.
And they let me, and the vision was realized.
Bro, you know what's beautiful about that? Let's go right into this, because I've been giving a lot of thought about this this thought and process of being when we talk about success, or we talk about people who are going through and doing things on their own, but needing some sort of help or some people to facilitate. How do you get the people to see that vision? Is it more so that you just focus on just saying, hey, get out of my way and let me do my thing, and try to plug them in, or try to have them come in and find themselves in a place where they can serve you and help you with the vision? Let me ask you that.
That's a good question.
Because we deal with this a lot.
Yeah, this is a good question, because it's really hard, because it's like when you're also new in a space,
Yeah.
and you have good character, you have some humility, and you don't want to be an absolute asshole.
Right.
There's part of me that really just wants to be like, everyone just listen.
Mhm.
But because I also value everyone's experience and their insight, and I wouldn't have them on my team if they didn't bring some kind of value. I'm constantly balancing, trying to have everyone hear me while I hear everyone else. But because it's my boat that I've built, and then I'm like, oh, I need boat hands.
Yeah.
But I was rowing this boat on my own.
Yeah.
I need everyone to just realize I know how the boat steers.
Yes.
I built the engine. I can see where we're going. I already had the course. Y'all just here because I need y'all. Like, I see all this. Now, if you have ideas along the way, like, oh, hey, if we steer this differently, cool, I'm here to help. But if immediately I don't see value in it, or it is not working, then it's maybe a distraction too. And so it's a balance too of making sure that I listen to the right things and the right people, and people that have the right interests, and they also have the right investment.
Yeah.
Right.
People that are equally invested and care about the boat as much as I do.
Yes.
And care for it and want to make sure it lasts forever. Those are the people I'm gonna listen to more.
Yeah.
Because like Chin and y'all, like
Yep.
That's what's up.
like, cause he cares, like
Yeah.
it's like you can have people all the time, like, and I'm not even complaining because I have good people on my team,
Mhm.
but no one cares, and they know this.
Yeah.
If they hear this, I don't care.
Yeah. No.
They
it's
do not.
100%.
They do not care
Yeah.
as much as I care,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I don't need them to.
And the thing
But
is,
I
that's
look
not their
forward.
business.
I look
Right.
forward to someone.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not looking to switch them out or swap them out. And I say someone with the opportunity to keep it open for them even.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I look forward for someone to love something the same that I do, knowing how we benefit
Yeah.
from this boat.
Yeah.
And we survive in this boat. But once we get to the destination that y'all can't see, man, I bought a whole fucking island. Y'all about to have your own land, your own fucking house, but y'all want to talk about rowing. And I'm not saying anybody in particular, but this is life. But this is life.
I feel you, bro. That's why I'm asking you these. I wanted to hear that same thing, because I think that people who have it really is an imbalance at first, is what I feel like. I just recently heard this, that people who are great at things, if you really look at someone who's great at something, they're imbalanced. They're not balanced in everything in life. They are focused on what they are great at. Which, example, Kobe Bryant. He didn't celebrate. If they say the mama mentality, I think every great person has that mentality. It's to be imbalanced, to be focused on what your end goal is supposed to be. And guess what? When you get to that end goal, you don't celebrate. And if you do celebrate, it's for a second. And then you're like, what's my next goal?
Yo, peep this. I tell my kid this all the time. I bring up Kobe. I'm like, yo, look at him.
Yep.
Bro, after games, was shooting shots, practicing.
Right.
You didn't hardly see him practice, celebrating.
Right.
If he did, it was for a brief moment.
Right.
And I ain't even looking at him. I don't think about Kobe ever.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I'm in my moment, there's a
Right.
moment when I'm like, oh, this is probably what Kobe was doing. Oh, this
Yes.
is probably what Kanye was doing. But then I quickly forget about them because I don't care about them.
Right.
I believe in myself.
Yeah.
I believe I'm great.
you.
And I
Thank you.
still respect everyone else's greatness.
Yeah.
But you have to selfishly like look at yourself and believe in yourself. The power of self-confidence, which is something that, you know, me and my homie got.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest tool I'm trying to teach my kids without having them feel shadowed by my own.
Yeah.
Because that is.
And that's tough because if you're a really confident, strong personality, you can also suppress someone's personality as they're developing. And so figuring out how to be soft and still hard, and I say hard in a tone of like confidence and firmness, but still being soft enough that it allows my children to be vulnerable and sensitive and emotional, but still learn how to find their own confidence. It's fucking hard.
It is so hard.
That's my biggest focus.
Okay, so you two remind me a lot of each other, right?
Like, because we are. That's no wonder. That's why we're friends.
Yes, because that is exactly what we're going through in our own household, and not just the kids, even with me, right? Like it's super. It's hard because it's like the pace that, for instance, myself and the kids are going is a lot slower than what he would, you know, expect or want from us, right? So it's that battle, and I know what he's trying to teach us and what we're trying to learn. It's a really appreciative, and I can see it, but at the same time, we're very sensitive or very emotional. So then we're like, gosh, he's not thinking about how we like to learn, but in reality, what we're trying to do is be hard, which is very hard for us. What he's trying to do is be a little bit soft. It's hard for him. Yeah. So it is, for sure. And I think that's the reason why, like, it's that constant communication. There's moments where, I mean, I find ourselves arguing a lot more because I'm learning to be hard by standing up for myself, right? But it's sometimes but it also makes him feel unappreciative, you know?
And I also go back to that boat thing reference, right? Like I'm already designed something that I'm going to that island, bro. Yeah. Like I'm already designed. I told her the other day, like my mental right now is like warfare. I'm going to war. Yeah. Is how I look at it.
Yeah.
I'm going to war, and guess what? If you can't be by my side with me because you haven't been ready, you ain't prepared for war, you stay home then. Because I'm gonna get us there. I'm gonna make sure that we're safe, and that when we get there, you can catch up. I'll make sure that it's gonna be safe, right? Like that's my mentality. And I think that when I look at things, when I want something or when I have a goal in mind, that's how I look at it. Sometimes you got to go on your own.
And that's and when we went hiking the other day in Colorado, you know, I was the last one kind of just watching everybody and hoping the ones that were a little scared behind as Sully took lead, you know, and I came back to his sister's house, and I just started writing all of the lessons I learned from just that one moment of hiking with the kids and Sully. And there was moments where I even wrote this the other day where I said, sometimes the people that you're with can't wait for you. They're on their own journey, you know? Yep. And once they reach the top, they can, you know, choose to put their hand right back down and grab you too, you know? And I think that's what we were talking about, because at that moment, you know, like I remember at one point our son Campbell got to the top already, scared, did not want to move anymore. And the rest of the kids and Sully wanted to keep going, and I wanted to keep going, but so I couldn't leave my 10-year-old by himself right there. So I stayed back with him. And that's when I think I kind of was able to reflect on all the lessons along the way, because in the beginning, Valentina and Maxwell and Campbell were just like, I don't want to do this, you know? And then I was like, you guys, we have to keep going. And Sully wasn't waiting for none of us. And Sullivan wasn't either. Like, you guys just kept going.
You guys actually walked ahead of me before. So they started ahead of me.
That's right.
And I caught up with them. And then I kept on going with them. Yep. And then my oldest and my youngest were the ones that wanted to keep going. They're like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. We're up here. Let's make it to the top.
Yeah, so I had to do a lot of like coaching with Valentina, you know, and then I think when there was college kids, you know, they walked past us, and there wasn't a lot of kids on the trail, and they said to Valentina, like, you're doing such a great job, keep it up. And at that moment when I was saying that, it meant nothing to her. When a stranger said it, it meant everything, and it pushed her.
Like that, huh?
I mean, we talk about this about strangers and us when you get so close inside a circle.
Yes.
You know, imagine just 5 people standing in a circle, and you all are even talking loud or whispering. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're all doing it at the same time, you don't hear. No. And even if you hear the same message from the same person, it's like you almost don't hear it until you hear it outside the circle.
Yes.
And it's like your ears are pointed this way, but you hear it from this way. But what y'all all said is a lot about leadership and sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I've talked to the kids' mom about this. I've talked to the kids. I'm like, how many times do you see a winning team have a coach and an assistant coach arguing on the sidelines?
Never.
They ain't winning if they are.
Yeah.
I can promise you
Facts.
that.
Yeah.
So who's a leader?
Yeah.
Man, in relationships I've had and relationships I may have, I'm not stating or putting my foot in the ground as the leader.
Mm-hmm.
I look for leadership qualities.
Yeah.
And if someone can lead me better than I can lead myself, absolutely. I'll take a coach seat. I would love that. I would love that.
Right.
But if you're not, I'm a doer.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure that it's going to get done.
Yes.
But I do like to sit back and try to see if people will do it on their own.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's actually something that's hard for me.
Yeah.
Because it's a flex on patience to try to see if, without talking, without giving verbal commands or anything, if you can make sure that people can do it on their own.
That's what's up, man. That's something that I really like to dig deep in that, because I think to see the success in what you've created for yourself in the amount of a short period of 4 years, I think it's very, very important to understand the back end, the story, the mental that it takes to get to where, I mean, think about how much time have you spent in painting? Let's just say painting alone in the past. Let's say how often do you do it? How often do you do it on a daily basis?
So when I got sober in 2019, I was telling the kid's mom this the other day, because we were having a discussion about just mental health and trying to better co-parent.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I used to be a professional alcoholic. I was a professional cocaine user. I was great at it. I did it like 4 days a week. I knew how to get it. I knew how to get it for free. And I knew how to use it professionally. Right. So when I stopped doing all that, it was like I'm always gonna lean into things I love.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. So like I loved partying. I leaned into it.
Yes.
Then I had all this empty space and time. And my idle mind was like, find something. I already had a little bit of art in there, but it was more so like just getting this stuff out of the way. And that was some bad relationships, some bad environments, some bad habits. And it opened up this space.
Yeah.
And this space allowed these things to come in that I was totally blocking out before.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, you hear people say blocking your blessings. That's what I was doing. And I didn't realize it. So people are like, how are you able to get down and get painting so quick and like get that good so quick? And I was like, I practice every day. So we talk about Kobe. I tell my son, they say you can't teach confidence. I challenge that because I think that you can. It's the hardest thing to teach. But I think you can if you encourage and foster people to do things they like and things they love and to practice it.
I think that's the key.
That's the recipe. If you just lean towards things you like or love, and I'm recorrecting myself because I've told people in the past, just find your passion. Yeah. And there's this book, The Happy Sexy Millionaire, that I'm reading right now. The title's terrible, but the book is fire because it actually tells you how to stop focusing on finding your passion and how that prescriptive statement can actually be discouraging for people who don't understand what their passion is.
Right.
Yeah.
And instead of rephrasing it and say, try to lean towards things you like and love.
That's right.
And that can be hobby related.
Yeah.
That could be professional related.
Yeah.
That could be family related.
Yeah.
That could be even self related if that's something that's needed.
Yeah.
And that's the recipe. I really think that's the recipe. So I don't know how many paintings I've done.
I'm with you.
Just
but I'm doing
consistent.
something I love and I like, and I started saying I'm gonna do it every day. And I didn't choose the easy part. It wasn't like, I want to bake or cook.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with pancakes and cookies.
Right.
It was like, I did that a couple times, but now I'm like creme brulee. Yeah. I want a lava cake. I want
creme brulee don't beat mine though.
Yeah.
It don't beat mine though.
Hey, well, just invite me over. I'll do taste tester. Shit. Save me 6 hours of making that shit.
Me of B, because didn't you make it at our house?
Oh yeah, I've made it multiple times.
We made it.
Yeah.
We made it a couple times.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that's been birthed out of this house in some of your art stuff. Like we have your first piece of work, the Chicago skyline, and then when you wanted to do something more local here, we talked about, what was that?
That was just more. That was like more of a support, like just friendship things, right? Like I was thinking about this the other day when I heard somebody say, I don't know if I was watching a podcast or what I was watching, but they said something about, tell people your dreams and this and that. But in some aspect, I think that when you hear also when they say, hey, when you make a wish, like, hey, don't tell your wish or else it won't come true. And I think part of that is because when you tell people your wishes and your dreams, they can't see that vision, right? So when they can't see that vision, they automatically knock that dream or that wish or that vision. And I think that when you do sometimes just stick onto the grind and do what you do. So when you hit me up, I remember you hitting me up. I was like, hey, Sully, you want to buy one of my paintings? I was like, when you start painting, fool?
Bro, people still to this day do that.
Hey, and then, when you hit me, I was like, sure, you're my boy. Let me support that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just one of the greatest things to see and just be able to support that in that aspect and see that. And now where you're from there to here, like, bro, you followed your dreams.
And didn't nobody see that.
Yeah, we saw that.
I didn't see it. Yeah. I mean, maybe y'all did, but nobody see like where it's already at?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we could have seen that far ahead, but I think like once.
No, I think I saw the capability of supporting a friend.
Yes.
In his dreams, if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we met up the following week and I bought another piece from you.
Yeah.
Like those are things that I just felt like at that time, how do you help your friends follow their dreams? By supporting what they want to do, right? Whatever it is.
And even if you keep changing your mind on what you do, like keep supporting, because I think we're all on a journey where we're discovering ourselves and trying to figure ourselves out. We don't know what we're doing. I mean, when you were working in the professional world, I remember you hating the corporate world, and to see you be authentically who you were meant to be today and seeing what you do now, it's like, man, you went after it. Like it was a risk. Huge risk, but at the same time, like you're opening up doors and, creating paths for a lot of us that did not see anything outside of corporate because that's what we were, taught to do. And you're able to show that, find that love. What do you love doing? Go do it every day. Practice it. And
that's props,
this is what, you get from it.
Super proud of you on that aspect.
Yeah, very, very
for
proud.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like this is the way I was always supposed to be, and that's why like the best advice I've gotten before this chapter, this artist B.Moore.
Yeah.
And this is so natural and like comfortable for me to be in this place. But before that, some of the best advice I got was from an old boss that told me, like, this is how she delivered the information. She's like, we don't think you're authentic. And I was so mad because as a coach personality, as a leader and an inspiring type of personality naturally, that was delivered horribly. She could have told me that same advice 5 different ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
But she delivered it the way she did, and it cut me. And when it cut me, I was licking my own wounds, and I was thinking about it while I was licking them, and I was like, I ran through the barbed wire fence. I cut myself. She didn't cut me with that. She just showed me I was bleeding.
Yeah.
I hate it here.
Yeah.
No wonder she thinks I'm not authentic.
Right.
I hate fucking cutting my hair. I hate dressing in this tie. I hate changing my voice a little bit. Hey, this is Robert. I hated that shit.
Sully used to do that too. Remember?
We all do.
Yeah, we all did.
It's fucked up because we're
trained to do that.
Mode. It's survival mode, and we're taught that we have to be polished. And the good Asians, the good blacks, it's created division in between us even.
Yeah, 100%.
So
bro.
when I finally figured that out, I was like, oh, she gave me the best advice. I'm quitting this job. I got to get out of here.
You had similar things
and that's why I quit too.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it anymore when I was working at the bank. I was just like, dude, what am I doing here? I'm getting paid $16 an hour to sit here in front of a desk and just look at a computer after I finish my work in 2 hours. They want to pay me for 8. Like, I could be doing something greater than this. This is stupid that I'm sitting here and wasting my life.
Man, ultimately I got fired because I didn't quit soon enough. And I was tricking the job off. So what you were saying, So what you were saying is I would get my work done in 3 hours, like I normally did. I've been doing this since high school, since elementary school, trying to get my work done, still doing it pretty good, but I don't want to do it. I don't fuck with school. I don't fuck with corporate work. I don't fuck with structure. I do fuck with structure built by myself, but not like inherited structure.
Right.
So, man, I got fired because
yours is systems.
I got fired because I was at another job interview. And it was over my lunch break, and this shit took like 2.5 hours. So I came back from break. And they're like, they pulled me into HR, and she was like, "You've been gone for 3 hours." And I was like, well, I don't think it was quite 3. But I was like, yes, I was gone longer than I was supposed to. I was like, man, I just ran into some problems on lunch break. And she was like, well, this is, you've already on a written or whatever. She's like, we're going to have to let you go. And I was like, no, I quit. I was like, don't fire me. I was like, I quit. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm walking out right now. And I was like, and you're going to hear from my attorney. Man, I sued them motherfuckers, man. I got paid too.
Okay. Hey, we won't go into depth about that.
I can't go into depth about it.
Yeah.
But they know. Y'all know.
Yeah.
I can't say it because my attorney said I can't. I ain't trying to give y'all no money back, but they know. They know. But yeah, so that was kind of the beginning of me being like, all right, now I still need to pay my bills and my family and stuff. So I did a couple jobs still.
Yeah.
But COVID hit, and it was just the perfect timing. End of 2019, I did a DNA test.
Yeah.
That was, I've always been identified as biracial.
Yeah.
By default because of America.
Yeah.
Black, because I don't look Caucasian as much as I look black. That's why. But when I did my DNA test, I was able to connect with cultures and tribes and ethnicities that were deeper than what I knew.
That's what's up.
And so it allowed me to research and get connected with my people, my kinfolk, my ancestors. And so as I started to paint, this is what I was talking about earlier, I didn't pick just bacon, cookies, and pancakes.
Yes.
I wanted to challenge myself. So I was like, what am I the weakest at? If I want to be great at this, I need to practice my weak points because I already know what I'm good at. Those are there. I got them tucked. My weaknesses. So I was like, painting faces. What y'all bought wasn't faces because that was a comfort zone. I had to break out of that. So I was like, I'm going to paint a face every day. Just got back from Jamaica in January 2020.
I remember that.
And COVID kind of just started rumbling a little bit. And we were all at home working because of the quarantine. So I had these little pockets of time in between conference calls where I could paint. And I was carpe dieming the hell out of this moment because it was like, I need to seize the day. This is the only chance I have to potentially leave this world. And I saw the light. So I started painting faces every day, and I was like, I just need to get good at it and that muscle memory.
How important was that for you to reconnect with your roots?
Oh, because it's so important because I just couldn't connect with painting anybody. So like, and especially being black, growing up, art to me, I was never growing up and taught about fine art or art collecting. We might have had a couple of things on the wall that was from like Walmart or a poster or something. But outside of that, it was Biggie, Tupac, Nipsey. It was all hip hop art, which is not fine art.
Right.
So for me, it was being resistant to painting anything I was familiar with and leaning into painting only regular people. Yeah. Because for me, it was like when I go up to a painting and I look at a face and it's Nipsey, I already know his story. Right. I already know most about it. It's all it is for me is it's an exchange of, is it a good painting or not? Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh, cool. Right. And I move on. Yeah. But if I see someone that's regular, that's reminiscent of someone I may have known, or someplace I can travel or be connected to, and there's an unknown element where I don't know this person and I maybe want to get to know them. I've sat with my work and it's spoken to me. Like for hours, without any words, and I could hear these characters that I've painted and created. They become kind of real.
Well, there's a story behind everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean,
everything.
Yeah. Well,
so if you don't get disrupted by someone else's story you already know, you have an unlimited space to travel.
Yeah. Well, and that's like one of the paintings that you had. It was, I think it was 2 boys in a bowl. I don't know what the how I.
Y'all got that painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have that painting.
What I said about that.
We do have that painting.
I know. It ain't framed, I assume.
No, it's still rolled up right now.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
Yeah. I have that and I have the marbles one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah.
But what I saw from that was I saw the whole feeding thing where when my siblings were, in the war in Cambodia, and the stories that they tell me about how they had to sneak food or steal food, and they try to make sure that each sibling was able to eat, that's what it reminded me of like feeding each other. So even your art spoke in a different light for even as Asians, you know? So it's really cool to be able to see that different cultures go through the same things, and it can really speak in so many ways depending on where you come from, depending on, you know, your experiences. And that was really cool to be able to connect in that sense too. And even this one, you know, Here to Listen, the Doctor's In. This is honestly, and the reason why we put it here is because when our kids, when we have dinner or just anything, we sit here and we talk about everything, let it all out. We, you know, growing up, my parents didn't let us talk about our feelings, but we let our kids be so open and we don't judge them. We just listen, you know? I mean, and before I used to get upset, like whatever they're going to tell me, so they couldn't tell me. But we've learned that we just have to allow our kids to just let them be, you know, and we have to take a moment. So if there's moments that they tell us things that maybe we just don't believe in, we got to take a moment and just decompress from what we heard and come back and, you know, process it. So
there's a lot of deep connection too with like our cultures. And have you ever heard the term Asiatic?
No,
I haven't.
It's because the original people are the Sands people. Like it's literally like a fact. You can Google it. But they're on the eastern coast of Africa, which is the closest coast that would border Asia, especially if we were still one landmass like they believe we were.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you look at facial structures of the Sand people, they're a lighter skinned African tribe and culture.
Well, if you look at Ethiopians.
And Ethiopians too, but they have higher cheekbones and they have slanted, more skinnier eyes. Their facial features and their characteristics are very blended between an Asian feature and an African feature. But because of their proximity, if you look at migration paths, natural migration paths, it's like the connection is so closely connected between Africa, Persia, and Asia as the original cultures. I mean, if you look at the age of religions and spirituality and things like that, it's like there's so much facts out there. So like for me, it's really been cool too to also learn myself and the truth opposed to the history we've been taught here in America through art.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I learned a lot about myself, my people, and even connected cultures.
Yeah.
So
how do you teach your children, since they're also, you know, a mix of they would be, are they 25% African American and then 75% Caucasian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you help your children identify who they are?
It's tough because sometimes I have talks with them and I'm like, y'all can't say certain things. And I'm like, you got to be careful of how you also present yourself. You know, there's pros and cons to the way they are and how they'll navigate through the world and also how I teach them. But it's very important for me to keep them connected deeply to that 25%.
Yeah.
Because they live in a white world.
Yeah.
And because of their DNA, their ethnic makeup, they have a lot of inheritance of white and European experiences and identities. So to keep them as closely connected to that, whether it's school, sports, family, friends, just to keep them interconnected, not only with our own culture, but other diverse brown and black cultures is very important because we're in America and we're in Iowa. So it's like we already have a lot of all that other stuff. So it's my job to try to get them in that right places. And they've naturally navigated and gravitated towards brown and black cultures, whether it's music or pop culture or traditions and food. They're naturally drawn towards that. So I like to see that happening because that's how I was growing up.
Yeah.
And that's the things that I've been telling our kids, and, you know, I keep it real. You know me, B. Like, I don't mess around. So like literally we were in Denver and we're driving through and there's a lot of homeless people. And I tried to explain to them all the time, you know, I was like, listen, you know, this is very important. I know a lot of that has to do with mental illness as well. I mean, I'm not to say that every homeless person out there is mentally ill or has some sort of issues in that regards to that. But I also think that, you know, America loses its way in regards to keeping tradition, right? You know, let's say, first, second generation Italians, do they still speak Italian? Germans, do they still speak German? Right? Like so on, so on. And I think as we live here in America, we start to lose the culture of where we actually came from, which then really instill, if you think about culture in general, everybody else's culture, it's very family oriented. It's very about like, hey, let's keep this alive. Let's keep talking. Let's keep helping each other. And I think here we just lose that way because we're so mixed up with the material things, the American dream, having all these things, which you think money is the only thing that can buy, right? But then after 2, 3, maybe 4 generations in, whatever that was built actually is probably be gone. And you never know, that person could end up homeless. So I try to keep my kids on the same aspect, try to help them understand that what we're teaching them is going to help them later in life, and hopefully that they can teach their children the same, Like I just hate to see, in the next 4 generations down that our great grandkids are just not thriving, right? As people, your bloodline just dies off at a certain time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I have a hard time with that too, in regards to what I teach the children. And to me, it's just, I always teach old school hard work. And that's just what I'm used to, is what I've been growing up. And I think that's what's going to allow you to survive. Yeah. Because if you don't, you get comfortable. Yeah. And when you get comfortable, you stop growing.
Yeah. And especially right now, like teaching my kids to make sure that they learn something that they can use with their hands.
Yeah.
That can't necessarily be as quickly replicated or replaced by a machine.
Yeah.
Right.
Is also important. Because of like where we're headed. So making sure that they still have some core traditional skills is really important out here in this world. But yeah, man, it's tough. Being a parent, there's no real right answer. It's just, you try to do the best you can. And I probably have more corrections and lessons than sometimes I end up learning something for myself and trying to teach them something.
Yeah.
Right.
And just trying to just be good.
Yeah.
Just be good. Do the best I can, I had a good dad, and my dad could have did better, but I had such a good dad that I don't even look at it like there was something missing.
Yeah.
But now that I did have that, and I'm older, I'm like, oh, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
You have good parents or a good parent, or even not.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just try to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And that's evolution. You try to do your best.
Yeah. I mean, let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a single father right now. In regards to how do you feel that's, what changes did you have to make as a father to be more present and still do what you do? Like what are the changes that you had to do for yourself so that you can be what you want to be for your children?
I'm going back to the boat, because if I was drunk and driving the boat, I don't even know if we might be off course. We probably were.
Right.
I mean, how can you trust someone drunk driving the boat?
Yeah, it's true.
So once I got my shit right,
right,
whoever wasn't behind me, now that I was like, okay, y'all need a good captain. I got some shit clear and I'm cleaned up. We're on the same path. I had to redirect a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm focused. Who's on board?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, everyone's still on board.
Yeah.
And that's just unfortunate. And there's no bad feelings or anything. It's life. And who knows? Maybe people will build their own boat and find their own path and travel. That's what you hope for anyone. Yeah, that's what you hope for anyone. But for me, it was just really just saying, okay, there's only so much I can do to try to make sure everyone's on the same path.
Yeah.
But I brought along as much as I could.
Yeah.
I made sure everyone was stable before I got back on the boat and kept on the journey.
Yeah.
But some people are behind.
And that's
and
okay.
That's just
and they'll still be a part of your life. I mean,
and so that's the hardest part is being like, there's 2 separate journeys. There's 2 separate boats.
Yeah.
And the passengers have to be shared.
Yeah. That's hard. And
so I find myself taking my boat, going back to the shore, dropping the kids off, and trying to see if I can get a little further on my path that next week.
Yeah.
And maybe I might make it a nautical mile or 2 longer, but I got to go back to the shore again and get my kids and see if we can make it a little longer next time, so I can just show them the island.
How hard is that on your mental in regards to having to do the travel back and going forward? Is it something that you're used to? Is it something that that sometimes you have to take your own breaks? I mean, what is it that allows you to continue to go back and forth? What drives you to do that and to be successful?
I know I'm not going to see the island in the next 5 or 10 years. I've accepted that. But I'm still trying to get a nautical mile or two more each time. And I would love for boats to be traveling in tandem. Or even a little closer. And having the passengers shared or knowing we're both working together.
Towards it.
I'd split the island in half if that were the case. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. So, but that's just where I'm at right now. And I'm actually good with it.
And the acceptance part, we talked about this when we were in Colorado with your sister. Accepting the things the way that they are currently and taking it day by day. And you never know. I mean, I always feel like when the other person is on their journey and it may come full speed, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't realize you're just right behind me. And then, life can just get a little easier after that too. So I know we're not separated, but we go through the same kind of experience that you're discussing, because we do like Sully might be on a journey way ahead of me. I'm trying to play catch up. And there's our kids that needs, that has a very experienced father and then a mother that probably is going through the growth with them and trying to balance that and trying to make sure that his mental health is still okay while we're all behind him, because it is, as men, I think sometimes we forget the workload that you guys have and the mental load, and just making sure we check in. And I'm not always great at it because sometimes you just expect that from the man, to be able to just hold the boat together. But there's moments where it's like, man, I can't drive right now. Like I need a break.
But that's key that you're mentioning that. And that's where I'm back to. Man, I would have loved to have had a co-pilot and a pilot, a co-captain and a captain in the boat. But I literally couldn't have chaos in the boat because we weren't getting it. We were going in circles. So it was one of those things with just like, life changes and I'm dealing with it. And I didn't think life would be this way, but I'm really happy. My relationship with my kids is so good, and it's without any interference. There's still a lot of challenges we have in the shared homes and co-parenting and stuff like that, but I'm noticing a good relationship with my kids. I wish I had them in the boat full time. We would already hit one of the islands. I promise you that. But I'm also okay because I'm like, man, I could go to the island by myself too. I built this boat, but now I can afford a jet. So I'm going to go visit the island while my kids are on the shore for a week. That's kind of my mental right now.
How important would you say that being happy? I mean, because happy is going to be kind of subjective to a lot of things, right? But how important is your happiness? What is it on the scale to you? It rank up there in regards to what it does for you as a person. Like how important, where does that sit? Like being happy, is that one of your number one priorities in regards to that? And what is that happiness? Is it
I don't
goals?
Know.
Is it,
I don't know how to answer how to make myself happy. Here's some things I focus on, is making sure I have some decent routines, making sure I have peace in my life, making sure I'm doing something I actually like, being around people I actually like. I've noticed when those things are a focus, happiness is a byproduct.
Yes, I would agree.
But whenever I focus too much on happiness, I get lost because I don't know what I'm looking for. But I noticed what things make me happy. And so now I focus on them.
Right.
Because even some of those things that make me happy bring me pain.
Right.
But happiness isn't something I can grab off of a shelf.
You're right on that.
Anger isn't even something I can grab off a shelf.
100%.
They're all a byproduct of the things and people and environments I put myself in.
100%.
And making sure I reflect how I respond to things. Can make me more angry, more sad. Being just self-aware.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Will give you clarity.
Say, ow, that hurt. Okay.
But
why? And what happened? And are you going to let that happen again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, fine. But are you okay with it happening a third time?
Yeah.
And that's where like making sure you recognize that and go into the source of the happiness or the source of the pain.
Yeah.
And figuring that shit out, figuring out how to make sure you bring it up or kill it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because that's what I had to do. Literally, I had to say, okay, here's the things I know that are not bringing me anything good. And if I can't fix them, then I need to remove them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's problem solving.
That's it.
Yeah.
Root cause analysis.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. You have grown so much. Like I love listening to you. I met you years ago.
Well, I mean,
But I feel like I never got to know you on this level.
well, yeah, because he wasn't authentic to himself. He was he was somebody that he
pretending to be.
Yeah. And I was all fucked up too. I didn't want to talk to you.
See, and you know what's and you know what's crazy?
Yeah. I avoid people.
When you're talking about like the cocaine and the alcohol, I didn't know you were doing any of that. Like I'm just like oblivious to things like that. Like you want to know something funny?
I know.
So, okay. When I was dating this guy, he not Sully, another person, and
well, the fact that you said this guy and then had to explain that it wasn't Sully, like I wouldn't assume that you weren't saying this guy, like this guy was funny as hell.
Well, okay, so I didn't know that he smoked weed. I didn't know what weed smelled like. I thought it was a white person's house smell because I know.
Bro.
Yeah, because I've gone to a few white people's houses and their house smells like that. So I just thought it was a smell. Because there's a house smell for Asians too. So I thought this was it. I don't know.
No, you just went
everywhere you go and everyone's smoking.
Hey, you just went to a person's house that smoked weed.
Yeah.
So I did not know that he even did that for the whole 2 years. Isn't that crazy? That's
wild.
Yeah. So when you said that, I've been around you, I guess, when you were under the influence, but I would have never guessed anything because I just didn't know. Like I just didn't.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up too, because like I know this is a little off topic, but just for people out there like building relationships or dating, something I recently did is I told my girl, we've been dating for over a year, that I smoked. Now, did she know that I smoked? Maybe. Do I do it all the time? No. Do I do it when I'm stressed? Yes. The only reason I didn't tell her is because early in a relationship, and people do this, they set really strong, like, I don't do this.
Right.
And I'm telling you what, men especially, if you fine and you tell them, I don't mess with someone that does this. We might have just did it yesterday. But we are not going to admit it if we want to be with you. We're going to lock up. We're going to try not to lie. But we're probably never going to talk about that shit again. So if y'all want a brother or a person that's going to be honest, you might not want to be so firm in your requirements.
Right.
You get to learn them and let them be themselves, because you're almost setting yourself up for someone you don't know.
Yes.
And then you're with them for 2
Setting
years.
up for a representative.
Yep.
And then you're with them for 2 years and you're like, I didn't know they were like this.
Oh my.
Well, okay, sure, you probably didn't. But if you wouldn't have said, I don't like this, and this, you probably would have learned that they do this, and this.
And that they are still
they're still the same person.
Yeah,
Still the same person.
Right.
Yeah. And that's exactly.
It's different if you, like you said, if you get out of control and you're doing things where it's clouding your mind, then that's different. But if you literally, if you a good person and you doing what you're supposed to be doing, listen, you do whatever you want to do, as long as you ain't hurting other people.
That's what I tell my kids. Just don't hurt nobody else. You can do
right.
whatever.
That's right.
I love that you said that, because I wish I would have known that advice before. Then I wouldn't feel like I just didn't know the person after I found out about it, because then it felt like they were just lying the entire time, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people go through that.
Yeah. It's
facts.
true.
Yeah.
So true.
Facts, man.
So true.
Okay.
Cool. No, I'm good.
All right.
That's what's up. Well,
All right.
man.
Well, yeah, that was such a great conversation. Thank you for enlightening us.
Yeah, for sure.
Brother,
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
I know that you're a busy man these days, but
Yes.
let's do some breakfast or lunch.
Yeah.
Can we go to Little Brothers?
Oh yeah, that place
What's Little
is fine.
Brothers? I ain't been there.
Sully brought me
Their
one
pancakes
time.
are fire.
Can we
Got
just
the
go to
chantilly cream.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you. I know
Yeah.
you will respect. Well, I tried calling you that day. Remember? I hit you up. I had some time, and I hit you up. And
Oh,
you were
yeah. I missed
sleeping.
your call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I went to go eat by myself.
I was sleeping.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, so he could have been the first one.
Let's schedule that.
Yeah, we'll schedule
All right,
that
yeah.
up for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm proud of y'all doing this thing, this opening up some of these conversations. So and building it around a garden of love. That's that title resonates with me, and flowers, and how we all are like plants, and we need water, and we need conversation, we need communion. A flower by itself in a field is not going to do as well in a field full of flowers that are using the same type of roots and soil and working together. So
you already know, bro, like, hey, you already know that's in our future. Just go ahead and speak it into existence. Flower
being
farm.
spoke into existence.
Hey, you already know. You love we love flowers.
And all
I know. That's why it just makes sense.
It's gonna be
something we love.
It's gonna be tatted gardeners going in there.
Be hard as hell. Hard as hell. Actually, that's a dope visual.
I can see it.
Because that's the masculinity and the softness we're both pursuing.
Yes.
We have both. It's in there.
It's in there for sure.
We're working towards the maximizing kind of level.
And working on what we talked about, working on a weakness, and a weakness could be being soft for you guys, and then like for me, a weakness is being hard.
That's
and
hard.
So it's nice to have both of you guys to be able to make me harder. I listening to you guys and this whole entire conversation, a lot of things are running through my head of things I want to work on. So thank you.
It's so hard. Yeah, it's so hard to keep the beautiful qualities we have about ourselves that makes us us. Like your softness makes you. Our hardness makes us us. I ain't gonna I don't want to be that. I don't want you to be hard. You'd make me uncomfortable if you came in here swollen shit. But finding that balance is like so important. Still being able to be that person that we all know you on the outside, but having these qualities inside that mature. Is what it's all about.
One of my homeboys just messaged me. Man, we keep going. One of my homeboys messaged me the other day. It says, I am. And he goes, fill in that I am. And then it's like, what do you identify yourself as? He goes, now, if you take that word of the I am word out, are you still the same person? And it hit, it was good because it's like, okay, if you say, oh, I'm hard or I'm soft or I'm this, if you take that out, then can you still identify yourself as that? So he helped me put in like I'm limitless, or I'm interchangeable. I can be anything I want to be. Now that's what you want to be, right? Like you don't want to just identify with the one thing. You want to help yourself identify as being whatever the hell you want to be.
Yeah, now I've heard this a few times, and even Nardwar, who does like hip hop interviews with like all the hip hop icons.
Yeah.
He recently asked Jay-Z, not recently, in an old video, asked Jay-Z.
Yep.
He's interviewing him. He's like, who are you? And Jay-Z starts going on and on and on. Like, I'm a hip hop, I'm a fashion person, da da da. And he's like, he stops me. He's like, no, what's your name? He's like, oh, I'm Jay-Z. But the way Jay-Z answered it was correct.
Yes.
Because when someone asks who you are, we're so used to just answering our names.
Yeah.
But when you start to challenge yourself and look in the mirror and say, who am I? How would I describe myself to myself?
Yes.
It's a really good really good exercise.
Let's do that right now. Can we do that?
I'm good. Well, you can, because I know who I am. I've done that exercise, and I ain't doing it with no one else. It's for yourself. It's intimate, and you won't get the same. You won't get the same out of it if you do it with anyone in the room.
No, because all you're doing is you are telling yourself like what you're going to be. When I try to explain to her, even when if I'm running, for example, if I go out and I go run, I don't tell myself, oh, I'm just running. No, I'm out there, motherfucker, you're the best. You're the strongest. You're going to keep going. Hey, you might think I'm crazy.
That's the confidence.
But what is going to allow me to be where I want to be great is not going to be, oh, you went 2 miles. You can stop here. No, motherfucker, you're going to keep going. I'm going to go 10. I'm going to go 20. And that's when you just reach this level of like, that's where it becomes limitless. That's where you become this point where nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
Like literally, I tell myself I'm unstoppable when I'm doing something.
People with real visions, if you have a vision that's so true to yourself, most of the time, anyone's gonna think it's crazy. Because crazy visions can only be seen by the person who dreamed them.
Yeah.
And they can't be understood by anyone until they're realized.
Yes.
You have to build the fucking Noah's Ark. Do you know how crazy they probably thought he was?
Yeah.
But when that rain came, everyone was trying to jump on that boat. So the best visions shouldn't be shared.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be understood.
100%.
They won't be understood.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
If I would have been like, I'm going to paint some pictures and be this, and that.
Yeah.
I would have looked at myself crazy.
It takes another visionary person
to see
that, or
another
someone who's done
person
it.
that's
Who's done it.
Richard and I talked about that before the show. We started talking about how some people won't understand or support certain things in the very beginning because they don't see that vision with you, you know, until that vision is created and dreamt, like actually being created, then they are like,
sometimes it's too late.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And that's not even in no spiteful shit. It's just sometimes it's just a little too late.
That's 100% true.
So the people that believe in you early, like y'all, like me, like it's the people that I tell people all the time. I'm like, I got people that bought art for me for like under $1,000 that ain't in a position to buy none of my current art the way it's priced now. And I don't give a fuck if they never buy anything again because they believed in me early. I'm fucking rocking with them forever. Because if they believed in me that early, there's people with 50 grand in their pocket that now where I'm at now can believe in me.
Yes.
But they ain't my friend. They ain't my friends. These are my friends, you know? So like doing this podcast, spend some time with y'all.
Appreciate you a lot, brother.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for your time, bro.
Yes.
Well, that's going to end that, man, on a good note. You know what I mean?
Salute.
Yeah. So thank you for watching our podcast. I'm Sully. We're here with BJ.
Yeah, I'm Bopha. And thank you so much for coming on board with us today. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Buy art, not drugs.
Peace.